Welcome to The Wisdom of the East, your gateway to explore ancient traditions and teachings that emanate from the East. Get ready for an enlightening journey where we unravel age-old secrets and wisdom that have shaped cultures and philosophies. Today we will meet Shorin Ryu, the martial art of Okinawa. Shorin Ryu is one of the oldest styles of karate, originating from Okinawa. Shorin is the Japanese pronunciation of the Chinese word Shaolin, meaning little forest. Therefore, Shorin Ryu can be translated as the style of the little forest. History. The roots of Shorin Ryu intertwine with the origins of karate itself, dating back to the late 18th century on the island of Okinawa. During that time, Okinawa was the seat of the now extinct Ryukyu kingdom, encompassing all the islands of the Ryukyu archipelago, now part of Japan. A thorough study of karate's origins cannot be separated from the exploration of Ryukyu's culture. In this section, historical periods will be based on the lives of the most significant Shorin Ryu masters. Shorin Ryu, being the first created style, played a central role in the development of different styles like Shotokan, laying the foundation for modern karate. Peichin Takahara, 1683–1760. Born in the village of Akata-cho, Takahara spent most of his life in Shuri, the capital of the Ryukyu kingdom, and was the foremost master of te, hand, of his time. Te was a native martial art of Okinawa, meaning simply hand, as it was a form of weaponless combat. The development of te as a martial art is shrouded in the mists of time, emerging secretly among Ryukyu peasants who were prohibited from carrying weapons to prevent uprisings. Therefore, te was taught in clandestine meetings, resembling secret societies with initiations and internal hierarchy levels. Although geographically small, Okinawa was culturally segmented, leading to the development of different te types in three major cities: Shuri, the capital; Naha, the bustling trade city; and Tamari, the main port. Shuri's development, known as Shuri te, is crucial to this discussion. Around 1750, a Shaolin Buddhist monk named Kusanku was sent to Okinawa as an ambassador. Ryukyu, at that time, was an independent kingdom but culturally and commercially dependent on imperial China. As most Shaolin monks, Kusanku practiced kung fu, then called Chuan Fa. Since Shuri was the capital, that's where he was sent. There, he met Takahara, already advanced in age. Both exchanged martial arts knowledge, but no formal teacher-student relationship developed. Kanga Sakukawa, 1733–1815. When Kusanku arrived in Okinawa, Sakukawa was around 18 years old and Takahara's most promising student. The old master saw the arrival of a foreigner as an opportunity to enhance his martial art, but being almost 70 years old, he felt unfit to learn new techniques. He sent his pupil to be trained by the Chinese monk. Sakukawa, already a skilled te practitioner, became Kusanku's disciple, even rumored to have visited China and the Shaolin monastery. When Kusanku passed away in 1762, Sakukawa, now proficient in both Okinawan te and Chinese kung fu, became the grandmaster of Shuri te, succeeding Takahara, who had died 2 years earlier. In honor of Kusanku and to compile his teachings for future generations, Sakukawa created 2 katas bearing the Shaolin monk's name: Kusanku Sho, smaller Kusanku, and Kusanku Dai, larger Kusanku. Unfortunately, perhaps due to spending many years in China or having an extended-lived master, Sakukawa didn't have a brilliant student, risking the continuity of his teachings after his death. Around 1812, against his will, the elderly Sakukawa found himself obliged to fulfill a promise to a Ryukyu noble and accepted the man's son, a troublesome teenager known as Soken Matsumura, as his disciple. Soken Matsumura, 1800–1890. Although no longer a child, Matsumura quickly excelled in studies under Master Sakukawa. By the time Sakukawa passed away in 1815, Matsumura was ready to continue his teachings. Matsumura's training in the art that emerged from the fusion of Kung Fu and Te not only laid the foundation for Shorin Ryu karate, empty hand, but also elevated martial arts, previously restricted to peasants, to the nobility, of which Matsumura himself was a part. In fact, Matsumura used his newfound knowledge to climb the ranks in the kingdom's administration and soon became the supreme general of Ryukyu's armed forces. His life is shrouded in myths, portraying him as a Miyamoto Musashi of Okinawa. It is said that he never lost a fight, from the beginning of his training to old age. His most famous, and only drawn, battle was against a shipwrecked sailor, probably from China, named Annan. Annan was the sole survivor of his ship off the coast of Okinawa, reaching the island by swimming. Unable to speak the local language and a skilled fighter, he exploited his abilities to steal food and other items from villages near Shuri. Matsumura was called to address the issue, but the foreigner proved to be a superior opponent. In a moment during the fight when both found themselves unable to win, they decided to cease the battle, reaching an agreement. Matsumura allowed Annan to leave without facing charges for his crimes, and in return, Annan taught him some techniques. Matsumura later compiled these techniques into a kata called Shinto, Eastward Sailor. Apart from his nearly heroic military feats, Matsumura made significant personal contributions to emerging karate, creating various katas, Naihanchi, later divided into 3 parts, Pasai, later divided into 2 versions, Gojushiho, Shinto, and Haketsuru, not practiced by Shorin Ryu. In addition to his martial accomplishments, as a noble, Matsumura never abandoned the use of weapons, kabajitsu, and even introduced Jigen Ryu, sword fighting style, from Satsuma, Japan, to Okinawa. The exact details of Matsumura's life and many of his achievements, considered by many as the true founder of Shorin Ryu karate, are not precisely known. However, his most brilliant student and successor in the position of Supreme General of Ryukyu was Enko Idosu, another member of the kingdom's nobility. Enko Idosu, 1831–1915. As Matsumura's disciple, Idosu played a crucial role in Ryukyu and Japan's history. He was the Supreme General of the kingdom when it was annexed by Japan in 1879. Ryukyu faced a unique situation until that moment. While its rulers and population showed a strong preference for China in every aspect, Japan considered the region a protectorate. However, with the Meiji Restoration, Ryukyu surrendered without a fight, and its nobility collaborated with the Japanese to maintain their status. For this collaboration, Idosu worked tirelessly to introduce karate to Japan. He believed that, if successful, he could gain influence with the Meiji Emperor's armed forces. However, due to the significant Chinese influence on karate at that time, including many moves having Chinese names, the martial art faced resistance in a xenophobic Japan. Idosu's attempts were unsuccessful. Despite his failure to make karate a Japanese martial art, Idosu made significant personal contributions. One innovation was the introduction of makiwara training, a rigid wooden dummy, to toughen hands and feet for more powerful strikes. Another major change was making karate more accessible to children by inventing the first kihans and dividing the extensive Naihanchi kata, created by his master, into 3 smaller katas, Naihanchi Shodan, Naihanchi Naiden, and Naihanchi Sandan. These katas were a way to introduce children to karate, and once mastered, they would become intermediate-level practitioners. Idosu believed that there was a significant difficulty gap between the 3 Naihanchi katas and the other katas created by Matsumura and Sakugawa. As an intermediate teaching method, he partitioned the 2 Kusanku katas, created by Sakugawa, into 5 smaller katas, naming them Pinyin, Pinyin Shodan, Pinyin Naiden, Pinyin Sandan, Pinyin Yandan, and Pinyin Goden. There is significant historical debate about Idosu's role in karate in general and Shorin Ryu style in particular. Regarding karate, it cannot be definitively determined if Matsumura, Sakugawa, or Idosu was the creator of the martial art. Supporters of Sakugawa as the creator argue that he was the first to combine the teachings of Tei and Kung Fu into a single art. Advocates for Matsumura as the creator argue that he made the most contributions to the emerging art, and Sakugawa was merely a practitioner of 2 martial arts. Those who argue that Idosu was the creator of karate point to the term itself, which, it seems, was not used before Enko Idosu. However, supporters of this theory should note that the term only became popular after Idosu's death. During his time, as evidenced in the letter he wrote, now known as the 10 Precepts of Karate, karate was still predominantly known as Tang Te, meaning Chinese hand and not empty hand, as it is known today. As for the Shorin Ryu style, the discussion seems simpler. Although it may seem contradictory since Shorin Ryu is a style of a martial art, karate, there always seemed to be an awareness that this art originated from China and stemmed from the kung fu of Shaolin monks. It is highly probable that the style practiced by Itosu was already referred to as Shorin Ryu even before his time, as suggested by the reading of The 10 Precepts of Karate. Nevertheless, as with historical events based on oral history, as writing was not widely disseminated in Ryukyu, there are disagreements on this topic. Some debate whether Matsumura or Itosu was the founder of the style, but the only consensus is that Chibana was its first grandmaster. Choshin Chibana, 1885–1969. Unlike Matsumura, who struggled to find a disciple worthy of his techniques, Itosu had many quality disciples, perhaps due to his efforts in spreading karate throughout Okinawa by incorporating it into regular public education. At least 5 of his disciples deserve some note: Anbun Takuda, 1886–1945, Shugoro Nakazato, 1921–2008, Yuchoku Higa, 1910–1994, Gichin Funakoshi, 1868–1957, and Choshin Chibana. With Itosu's death, his disciples disagreed on the succession, but Chibana assumed the title of Grandmaster of the style. Some view this act as the creation of Shorin Ryu, while others see it as the consolidation of its already ancient existence. Regardless, Takuda and Motobu remained faithful to the style they learned from their master, and though they did not fully accept Chibana's authority, they did not create dissidences. Funakoshi, however, attempted what his master had failed to achieve, taking karate to Japan. Technically, with Ryukyu's annexation, karate was already a Japanese martial art, but it was almost unknown, and viewed with suspicion, on the main archipelago, much like everything from Okinawa, which remains the poorest and neglected prefecture in Japan to this day. To introduce karate to the main archipelago, Funakoshi devoted himself to altering it to circumvent Japanese intolerance towards customs and ideas of Chinese origin. He changed names, translating all Chinese words into Japanese, and some foundations to create subtle differences, enough to make the martial art palatable to the Japanese. He then founded a dojo, naming it Shotokan, literally Shoto's school, where Shoto, pine waves, was his nickname. Even the karate training uniform was Japanized, as Funakoshi's first karate gi was, in fact, a judo gi, a judo kimono. But that is another story. If you liked it, like, comment, share, and see you in the next video.